TripleNet News. Informative. The Ibuku community of Anambra State in Nigeria will soon be heaving a huge sigh of relief sooner than later as its most cherished historical bronze artifacts are now to be digitally present for the overriding good of the Ibuku people. The King of Ibuku land, His Royal Highness Igwe Alexander Ejike Mowa Azike Idu III of Ibuku land, expressed delight at steps taken to digitally repatriate home bronzes which were excavated over 6 decades ago by the late English archaeologist Professor Charles Thorson Shore. Azike made this known at a digitization workshop of Ibuku bronzes held at the National Museum, Onikon, Lagos. The workshop is organized by the Cambridge University, the University of Nigeria Nsukka, Factum Foundation for Digital Technology in Preservation, and the National Commission for Museums and Monuments, Nigeria, which is focused on recording the Ibuku bronzes in the collection. Dr. Kingsley Dara-Ojimba, a senior lecturer of the Department of Archaeology and Heritage Studies, UNN, who is also a research fellow of the MacDonald Institute for Archaeological Research, University of Cambridge, is working on this project together with Dr. Mrs. Kenechukwu Daniel, also of the UNN. These Ibuku historical bronzes are to be digitized using a 3D printing for ease of reference and also replicated and sent back to its source, the Ibuku community. Reacting to the initiative, Igwe Azike believes that this project will greatly impact Ibuku land. The monarch expressed gratitude to the late Professor Thorson Shore and his team for the great work of excavation carried out in Ibuku land decades back. He also expressed pleasure at the current efforts for more discussion.
As I said, the excavations were done in Ibuku, but we, the indigenous, the people of the Ibuku, did not know where these objects are. And we were eager to know because our children are acting on the things. And that was the reason why we were here. And we were happy that we were here. I think we saw some. And we are pleading with the government to at least send it back to Ibuku so that we can take from whatever the tourism side of it.
As part of efforts to drive home this desire, the 2-day digitization workshop now seeks to facilitate the process. Speaking on the initiative, Dr. Kingsley Dara-Ojimba, a facilitator of the project, said that the project was inspired by the oral history documentation carried out at Ibuku over the years. According to Dara-Ojimba, following the quest by the community to have a presence of the bronzes, the digitization train became inevitable.
So this project is going to be carried out to digitize some of those objects and also create replicas or what we call facsimiles of those objects. So the idea behind this is after these objects are digitized, so they could be mobile, anybody can carry them around, you could show them to your friends, then the replicas will be sent back to the community so there could be a sense of ownership of those objects. They will be domiciled in the community can have access to the objects. So considering the fact that the cost of production is very expensive, for now we're only going to make replicas of just about 2 objects. Then the remaining objects, about 9 other objects, will be digitized. So we hope that at the end of the day, the Ibuku people will be happy about this. We're already seeing signs of joy amongst them because they have highly welcomed the idea behind this project, and we believe that at the end of the day, they will have a sense of ownership of these objects.
Speaking on the digitization process, Director of the Factum Foundation for Digital Technology and Preservation UK, Dr. Ferdinand Smith, said that he is present in Nigeria to work on the Ibuku Bronzes initiative, hoping that this end result will be welcomed by the entire community.
Okay. My name is Dr. Ferdinand Somu Smith. I'm the Director of Factum Foundation for Digital Technology and Preservation in the UK. And I'm here today at the National Museum in Lagos to work on the amazing 9th century Igbo Ukwu bronzes. Factum Foundation specialises in 3D scanning, artworks, artefacts and cultural heritage sites, which many organisations do, but less organisations do the other part of what we do, which is to turn that digital data back into three-dimensional physical objects. So with the Igbo Ukwu bronzes, we'll be 3D scanning them using photogrammetry, and then we will be 3D printing them, casting them in bronze, and then bringing them to present to the Igbo Ukwu community later in the year. And that is a really important issue because what gets lost in the repatriation debate is once objects return to Nigeria, who has access to them within the country? So this project is really about trying to give access to a community that wouldn't necessarily be able to visit the originals in Lagos. And we hope that they'll be very pleased to have access to them once we finish the objects, the facsimiles of the objects later in the year.
On her part, wife of the former king of Ibuku land, Her Royal Highness Lolo Bernice Eze Ocheze II of Ibuku land, thanked the organizers of the workshop for the initiative, but urged that the original artifacts of Ibuku be well preserved to avoid destructive elements. Besides, Ocheze bemoaned the non-employment of Ibuku indigenes in the Ibuku National Museum in Ibuku, in spite of the fact that the community had donated its land for the setting up of the museum. She therefore called on stakeholders to join hands in ensuring that the Ibuku Museum is brought to standard.
So we have the Ibuku Museum. It does not benefit the name Ibuku archaeology in the world. So I want something to be done there. And there's no indigenous of Ibuku that is employed in the Ibuku Museum, except our wife by marriage. She was only person, despite the fact that we gave land, we gave all necessary support to make sure that that museum is in Igbo. And we've been trying to do all that in Igbo, begging National Museum, Nigeria as a whole, to look into the museum and bring it to standard that befits it.
Meanwhile, high point of the workshop was a tour around the National Museum by trainees of the workshop, the Igwe and his cabinet, as well as the facilitators of the training, and several bronze artifacts from various Nigerian tribes were interrogated. The procession also moved to a different segment of the National Museum, which houses images of both past and present Nigerian political leaders. More astonishing is the fact that the segment is host to the state vehicle in which a former head of state, late General Murtala Mohammed, was assassinated. Visuals of the vehicle reveals shattered windscreen and mirrors from gunshots, as well as perforated tire. Noteworthy is the fact that the digitization of the Ibuku bronzes was commenced earlier by Dr. Pamela James Smith Shaw, who is widow to the late Professor Thorson Shaw, who directed the 1960 excavation in Ibuku. Several trainees were selected for this workshop, and they represent descendants of owners of the compound from where the first bronze excavation was done. The compound owners were Isaiah, Richard, and Jonah, respectively. Ibuku, a beautiful central part of Anambra State, is famous for its rich cultural heritage in bronze and other artifacts. Ife Sinachi, Gloria Ejinkonye reports for Triple 9.